Good afternoon. It's sure the hottest day so far this year here in Queensland. It is a monster. Going to be a hot summer, that's for sure. Right, let's carry on with the solar eclipse. We have seen how a solar eclipse it isn't possible. Solar eclipse, you keep pushing it. A solar eclipse cannot work with finite light. It's very important to understand that it doesn't matter what anybody says, unless they come up with evidence, right? It's all very well people believing it, going, yeah. But how can you believe something when there is no explanation for it? Everything that you see is pointing towards absolute light. Everything, all of the facts. It's funny how the further away something is, the better they are explaining it. They know more about the stuff that we cannot see than they do the stuff right here, don't they? Right? What we have is the sun and the moon and a shadow. It's pretty damn close, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work this one out. It cannot happen. It's a slam dunk. It's an insult to people's intelligence. It really is. So what we're going to look at real quick is what happens when a solar eclipse actually happens. For real, okay? Here we go. So, bang! That happens. So that's the sun, right? But we have a mirror, and it's bouncing off of only one mirror in the garden. Now, if there was somebody on Mercury, Venus, look at that, crying out loud, look at that, right? It's one mirror. That's just the sun. You are seeing the sun. That's not traveling it. I will throw this phone out the back of the bus in a minute. Let's get a little bit closer here. Let me zoom in. So I brought the moon, I 3D'd it. Right, see that bit sticking out? And then I've got the mirror bouncing the light. Now, you can see the shadow, like that would be the sweet spot on planet Earth. It's a raised 3D planet Earth. Now, it doesn't matter what people try and tell other people about this. The sun's light, it's absolute. It doesn't matter how far away you are from it. If you can cast a shadow, if you can block the absolute light from the sun enough to cast a shadow onto something, you will find, without any exception to the rule, that spot where its shadow is bouncing, you could call it the sweet spot, the shadow, the object casting the shadow, and the sun, those four things will always remain in a straight line. It's the only way it can happen. You cannot have a solar eclipse with delayed light. It doesn't make any sense. It is the actual light source itself that is being blocked, not anything that has traveled off of it. It's intense, out of the ballpark intense light. And it's the actual light source that is being blocked. There's nothing coming off of it at all. So, like I say, if we had people on all of the planets, Mercury, Venus, up until Pluto, and it just so happened that on each of those planets, they were all doing what I was doing. They were trying to teach people that the sun's light is absolute. And they all played around with mirrors, like I am, and they all bounced the sun's light off of one mirror, like I am, onto another one, onto a little demo like this that they all set up on all of the planets, and if the sun went out, bang, we'd all lose light at the very same time. We would all lose light at the very same time. It's absolute light. There can be no light without a source. It wouldn't have been a case of the sun goes out and then in 3 minutes Mercury finds out, and then in another 3 minutes Venus finds out, and then another 2:20 we find out, and then another 5 minutes Mars finds out, and then another, 35 minutes, 3/4 of an hour to get to Jupiter, then they find out. Oh, it's ridiculous. Light is absolute. There is no delay. Nobody will ever detect any delay in any light ever. That is a guarantee. But they keep telling people that this and that, far out. They film it going through a bottle, that blue slug. It's a lie. I'd love to see somebody try and measure the light bouncing from that mirror to that mirror, or from the sun to that mirror, or from any mirror to mirror, as long as it's the sun. Is it photons bouncing off of the mirror onto that mirror, bouncing over there? No. That is a reflection of the light source itself. It's absolute. Wherever it's going to reach, it reaches so immediately. There is no delay. There is no delay. And if there is, somebody, please, at least put me out of my misery. But don't insult my intelligence by coming up with all of these different angles where somehow it's already been proven, because it hasn't been proven. There is no logical explanation for how a solar eclipse can play out with finite light. Why is that? Why are all of these theories? They've got theories for everything, for the pesky black holes, for expansion of the universe, for the Big Bang, everything. Why is all this stuff 299792458 meters per second? But the closest thing that we have to us, that should be the perfect science test, right? It's telling us that it's absolute. So how on earth, I know why it is, all of these theories with the 299792458 meters per second. Not one of them is credible. Not one of those theories is credible. Do you know why? Because right here, during every single solar eclipse that has ever been on this planet, and that will ever be on this planet, you are going to see absolute light. You will not see a delay. So again, all of these theories, how does that work? Where did this 299792458 meters per second come from? Why don't they show somebody, everybody, how it was done? Like the spinning of the mirror. Not talk about it and then say, and then he tripped over and was able to work out the speed of light. Well, he was just finishing off and the doorbell went. No, because there wouldn't be any power back then, it was that far. Look, a solar eclipse can only play out with absolute light. It doesn't matter what anybody says here about, yes, there is a delay. It happens before it reaches your eyes, because that is ridiculous, right? It's the insulting of the intelligence that gets a little bit annoying after a while. Same as 25,000 Egyptians scurrying along the desert with 2.3 million 2.5-ton stones between them. It's the insult, at least to my intelligence, okay? Right. But something else I'm really, really keen to do. So I'm going to post this, see what Rumble, Indigo C1, and I'm going to get straight onto the other one. And the other one is a good one. Yes, got a couple of familiar voices. All right, folks, under 10, 9:54. It's not bad. All right, I will be back.